Join us on the last bus home.
Okay, well, looking forward to seeing what else you've got.
Yeah, so tonight what I'm going to do is take us on a little tour, just get my notes up. I'm doing Most Haunted UK. So what I've done is selected what I could kind of see is the most. So like I've got Most Haunted House, Most Haunted Castle, Most Haunted Village, Most Haunted Forest. I've even got like Most Haunted Road. And it's all places in the UK which seem to have like a high amount of paranormal activity. So you can call it a hotspot if you want. But as opposed to
Or
say like
cold spot.
cold spot, you never know. All spots are good. But yeah, as opposed to like, so you've got the big daddy of all hotspots, which is obviously Skinwalker Ranch and a lot of other places in America, but I kind of wanted to stick to some cool spots in the UK. So dating back to episode number 1, which was Cannock Chase, I've kind of left that out because that is the daddy of the UK hotspots as far as I'm concerned. And if you haven't heard that episode, go back to that and listen to it because it's a belter. So bar Cannock Chase, what I wanted to do was just go through a little rundown of what is a hotspot. And as I mentioned, the daddy of all hotspots, Skinwalker Ranch, it's the daddy because it has everything. It's got your cryptids, it's got your UFOs, it's got your paranormal, your poltergeist activity, just a bit of all sorts. And that's what you want from hotspot. You don't just want
It's a
doors banging.
paranormal buffet.
It is. It's great. I'd love to go, but I don't think that will ever happen. So as I mentioned, you've got all kinds of stuff going on there. I think as well, what kind of brings it into the sort of legitimate world is the amount of research that goes on there as well. A lot of investment from some millionaires. We had the Daddy Deuce. What was his name? Bigelow. I was going to say
Robert Bigelow. Yeah.
Robert Bigelow. I like that guy. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why, but there's something about him. He's like a villain. I think it's his eyebrows. Dig it. So yeah, a few other places that our listeners might have heard of. So Point Pleasant, West Virginia, as you know, to Mothman. Exactly. Again, another big kind of cryptid. Everyone knows about that. We've got a cool place that I looked up last time, and again, this is in America, the southern eastern Massachusetts region, and it's the Bridgewater Triangle. You might have heard of that one. So again, gain notoriety through its different kind of like occurrences there. So you got like, again, UFOs, cryptids, all your other kind of bits. And it's like so it's an area bounded by towns, the towns of Bridgewater, Raynham, and Rehoboth. Forms kind of like this cool little triangle. So
isn't that the area of the world that Lovecraft's fictional Arkham is kind of set?
I don't know, but that'd be cool if it was.
Massachusetts, Old England sort of place.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That would be cool, yeah. We'll have to fact check that one. But it mainly seems to be UFO sightings. Like I say, you've got your other things, but a lot of eyewitness accounts of like your usual flying discs, orbs, triangular crafts, or your classics. Cryptid sightings as well, as I mentioned. The Bridgewater Triangle Monster. So this bad boy has been described as a large, hairy creature. Resembles a werewolf or a Sasquatch, so nothing too out of the ordinary for a cryptid there. Sightings are a bit, well, you take them for what they are, footprints.
I think werewolves and Bigfoot are quite different. I mean,
they are, but I think they're just going on a hairy creature, so I take it, it'll be one of those things where they see a flash of
a dog
hair.
Or a sheep.
Or a big dog leaving some animal footprints. You know how people get in these towns, man. Exactly. Mothman as well. Although, as we said, primarily associated with Point Pleasant, has been seen flying around this place as well, so he gets about a bit. He's like a cryptid slut.
Well, he has been spotted more so. He's just famous for Point Pleasant because he just happened to show up around the time of the bridge falling in.
Yeah, I think that. I won't stick in one place. I go around spreading my fear.
If I had wings, I'd be like visiting 3 or 4 places tops.
Exactly. So in addition to UFOs and cryptids, other such phenomenon that was seen there is orbs, classic, a bit of poltergeist activity. I got a cool little cryptid story which originated from there as well. Very brief, couldn't find a lot on this. It was just one wacky little story, so how true it is, I don't know. But Mary and Dana Holmes, back in 1997, Mary one evening, when tending to her flowers, noticed a pungent smell of oil and rot. When she looked over, a strange black shape could be seen by the trees. Mary felt a sense of sadness and approached the creature, but the smell became too much. As the creature walked away, she could only see its black, oily skin dripping a black goo. And apparently she reported her flowers basically died. So I'm not sure what that was. Maybe a homeless man, maybe a cryptid. Who knows?
A black goo.
Black goo. I've heard of that as well, coming from like a UAP story where they saw this creature, supposedly an alien, but it was dripping black goo, and the smell was really bad. It's kind of like I think it's a fairly common story. So I don't know if this is some kind of creature that exists, maybe interdimensional. I'm not too sure, but it's starting to pop up. I think it's going to get popular, whatever it is.
So we're saying a smelly black goo. Is it a protective?
Yeah. I'm thinking like some kind of maybe like defense mechanism. So it's like when it gets scared, it like gives off this smell like a skunk, and
it lets out a dark, smelly goo. Yeah. Okay. It sounds like a fear response.
Exactly. So there's just like I say, a few examples of some hotspots. So what I'm going to do is get into some of the UK's most haunted hotspots.
Yes,
so, like
please.
I say, what I'm going to do is go through the most haunted places. So, what we'll do is we'll start off with a forest. And again, when I say most haunted, that is subjective. If you know of a house or a forest that is more scary, drop us a line. So, we'll start off with the most haunted forest.
Where could someone drop us a line, Lee?
Oh, so someone could drop us a line on the email at lastbushomepodcast@gmail.com. We'll read all comments, even the brutal ones, and we'll take it on board. So hit us up. Right, mate. So I'm going to start off with the most haunted forest. Can you guess where that is?
Is it most haunted forest?
Yeah, man.
I'd like to think it's up near Kielder, but
If I say Suffolk,
okay.
so I'll put you out of your misery. It's Rendlesham Forest.
Rendlesham. Is this a haunted forest, or is this just a UFO spot?
Yeah. Okay. So Rendlesham Forest incident was one of the most famous UK sightings, and it took place in December of 1980 near Rendlesham Forest in Suffolk. So it wasn't actually in the forest. The forest is located near 2 US Air Force bases, so that's what these boys were doing, hanging about, I guess. RAF Bentwaters and RAF Woodbridge. So over a period of 3 nights, this military personnel stationed at these bases basically saw like a series of events, and they basically timelined it. Which again is quite cool because it's not just some teenager or some random dude seeing a light in the sky. These are all kind of like backed up as, I'm guessing, kind of official reports. So in December 26th of 1980, security patrolmen at RAF Woodbridge saw lights descending into the forest, and they went to investigate and found a strange object with coloured lights on it. As they approached, the object moved through the trees and shot up. So I thought that was quite cool because it was backed up by, again, it was kind of like an official report. And then pretty much the next night, December the 27th, 1980, the Deputy Base Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Holt, led a group into the forest to investigate the reports from the previous night. They found markings on the ground where the object had supposedly landed. They also saw strange lights and experienced unusual radio interference. So some wacky shit going on. And then the next night again, not too much about that, but again, more strange lights were reported in the forest. So again, these are all kind of like official reports that were logged up by these military personnel. Again, there is lots of other kind of like eyewitness accounts. But like I say, it didn't just kind of go to the UFO stuff. I was looking at like Rendlesham Forest for like maybe kind of like ghostly encounters, stuff like that. So people had reported seeing ghostly figures like in the trees and stuff like that. One story was a woman who was walking a dog in the forest. She came across a clearing and the dog refused to go any further. Woman felt a sudden chill, all the usual stuff, a sense of unease. So there's a lot of little kind of like stories like that. Again, came across one about a group of teenagers who were camping in the forest. Usual kind of camping scare stories. They had rustling outside the tent, but they reported seeing a dark figure moving among the trees. Again, could be aliens. Who knows? But whatever there is, some scary stuff happening in Rendlesham Forest. Place I'd kind of like to go. I'm not really too sure if you've ever been. I'm taking it you haven't.
No.
But you've heard of it. Seems cool.
Yeah.
Tried to look at a map of it as well. Seems quite big, so you never know. It might be one for the some stealth overnight camping. As far as forests go, I found a lot of kind of like a few little stories and stuff, but Rendlesham seemed to be the most, like I say, notorious one. So on to the next, and this is one that listeners should be pretty familiar with. So this is the most haunted village in the UK. So Pluckley, and we've spoke about this before. So I'm just going to go through. There's a lot to cover in Pluckley. It's kind of a hotbed. We have spoke about going there. I think we should maybe do a day out and see what this place is to offer, because, like I say, man, we discussed this last time, and I think when a village gets its title of most haunted, it pretty much plays on it. But hey ho, do what you can. I'm not afraid of a hustle. So Pluckley Village, located in Kent. Again, pretty much self-proclaimed, but they take the mantle of the most haunted village in the UK. Reputation stems from numerous reports of paranormal activity. So you got ghostly sightings, strange noises, unexplained occurrences. You know the deal, Mr. Wilson. All the usuals.
I do. Is this the place that boasts like 30-odd ghosts, but a lot of the stories, there's maybe 5 original stories all retold in different ways to make 30-odd different ghosts? Is this the one?
I think this might be the one. Pretty much something like that. But again, wait with what you got.
Well, if it's bringing in the tourists, then
this is it, man. Not afraid of that. So it's got a bit of a history, as most villages in the UK would, but it was a medieval settlement. The village was established in the 10th century and was part of the Manor of Marden. Served as an agricultural community, lots of farming, livestock rearing, all that kind of stuff. It's got a church there, the Church of St. Nicholas, that was built in the 12th century and remains like a bit of a landmark of the village. Again, pictures of it look very nice, as you would expect a quaint English village to look like. So later history, Industrial Revolution. So during this time, Pluckley experienced a period of growth as a result of nearby coal mines and ironworks. So a bit of mining going on, I think, brought a bit of money into the town, as it would. World Wars. So village played a role in both World Wars. So I think they had basically troops stationed in the area, local residents contributing to the war effort, as you did back in the day. Wouldn't catch any of that now, would you? I won't be anyway. it's got a lot of haunted locations within the village. So, a couple being pubs, and again, as I mentioned, the Church of St. Nicholas. So, one of them is the Ancient Ram Inn. Ancient Ram Inn, again, it's fairly notorious within itself. I actually saw a few documentaries just on this place. So, might be the village's only true claim to fame, but this it's a very old inn.
Yeah, it's. I believe it. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but it looks like an old roadie who lives there, and he claims to have regular input from a succubus.
Yeah, I did see that.
He really doesn't seem to be taking any steps to get him rid of.
Why would you?
Well, let's see. He seems to be quite happy with it.
Fair play. No one minds if the succubus comes around for dinner. But yeah, as you mentioned, a demonic entity and a witch's coven. So I don't know if this is his story as well, but there seems to be a lot of female entities around this dude. I think he thinks he's a bit of a paranormal player, but
I think he sees himself as a bit of a Del Preston, but yeah.
So I mean, I won't mind staying there. If we went, I'd like to see this dude, and I'm going to be honest, I won't mind a visit from the old succubus. The Screaming Man Pub, another one. Not sure if these two boys are in cahoots, but said to be the ghost of a man who was murdered there centuries ago. Who'd have thought it? So visitors.
So is the pub named after the ghost, or is it just happened to be called the Screaming Man?
I couldn't get too much information on that when it had actually changed its name, but I'm thinking it kind of, I think it's playing into its. Like I say, this guy was murdered a long time ago, so probably you've got this story that's popped up through the building and then been like, you know what, let's call it the Screaming Man Pub. Because I doubt they called it that back in the day, do you know what I mean? No one wants to go to the Screaming Man Pub in the olden times. You know, you want a nice place where you can get your glass of mead. No one needs that.
Well, that's the Screaming Man. It doesn't say carvery, does it? Family carvery.
This is it, mate. This is it. So I'm guessing it's the villagers' work. But again, another place with the usual reports of cold spots. And there was actually, I don't know how they know this. Maybe it's just in the records, but they sort of highlight the area where the murder took place. So I guess when you stay there, you can look at that, whatever it is, a corner or something. Who knows, mate? But yeah, so it's got two very haunted pubs. So you could do a little Pluckley pub crawl of all two of them and go wild. So other haunted location within Pluckley, you've got the school. All schools are haunted, if you ask me. It's just the way it is, isn't it? A lot of kids bring a lot of entities. So this former school building was rumoured to be haunted by the ghost of a young girl who was bullied and tragically died there. So I couldn't find too much information on that. It's not like it was an official report where, you know, you could sort of delve into it. Again, I think it's just lore of the place. But again, usual eyewitnesses have claimed to see an apparition wandering the halls. I think every school pretty much has one of those stories. We were really boring, and we had the Grey Lady. That like takes no imagination. Every place has got a Grey Lady.
Well, yeah, a grey lady, a white lady.
This is it, man. Just ladies are scary in general. So yeah, as I mentioned, the Church of St. Nicholas, rumoured to be haunted by a ghostly monk who's been seen walking the grounds, which again I think is pretty much common to a lot of churches. Monks are going to chill there, I guess, after they die, is what it is. So a few eyewitness testimonies, you know, a few people have kind of seen stuff, got a few reports, but here's your usual, mate. It's cold spots. Areas of the villages are known for their unusually cold temperatures. Again, I'm guessing, you know, maybe just a wind trap or something like that, but it did state even on warm days, certain parts of the village feel cold, and experts, mate, don't know why. So take from that what you will. Ghostly sightings. Visitors and residents, all kinds, have seen all the apparitions I mentioned before. You've got your children, your monks, demons, witches, all sorts. Strange noises, footsteps, whispers, screams. or your classics. Unexplained occurrences, so I guess that's your feeling of like unease. It's your sixth sense kicking in. So try to look into some kind of like more scientific explanations or theories or anything, if people actually went there. Seen a few visits by like some UK paranormal groups and things like that, but I think they just bought into the hype. But a lot of people seem to believe that the area is haunted due to its long and troubled history. I'm maybe going down the route of, again, a lot of mining happened there. So, again, as we've talked about before, maybe some gases have been released, that type of thing, making people go crazy like iron.
So where are we? Is it north of Kent? So
it is, mate. Yeah. So it says located in the Weald of Kent, whatever that is.
So that's basically the big fat, like, butt of the UK.
Yeah.
That points out to Europe. So that would have been a very popular landing spot for various invaders. So there'd have been a lot of interaction down in that part of the country. So,
as in, do you think they saw its fair share of like on-ground
bloodshed?
Fighting?
Yes, and settling and different cultures clashing and what have you. And I'm guessing a fair bit of bloodshed under rather emotional circumstances.
Fair play. That could kind of make sense.
Because, like I say, the Saxons, Normans, and everything else that's made France what it is.
Yeah.
They've been going there. Vikings took a lot of space up down there.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's called Norfolk, so northern folk.
Oh, fair play. I just thought it meant no fucks given.
Oh, probably, which again means they probably fight a lot.
Definitely. When they stumble drunk out of these two pubs.
Following the kebabs home, yeah.
Exactly.
Or following the kebabs into a fight, yeah.
That's a good point. I might actually look up restaurants next time, see if there's any haunted restaurants. Ghostly kebab house. Anyway, yeah, so that's Pluckley Village. So, nice little place if you ever want to visit. Lots of stuff going on, and like I say, it plays on its title, so probably a lot to do, maybe some like ghost tours and stuff. So, actually, before we move on to the next one, I did just want to mention the Pluckley Fairies. So this is, I'm definitely not classing this as a cryptid. This is basically orbs. So it says it's a hotspot for orbs. Blue balls of light hovering over the hills and vales. Again, could tie into the fact that it's been a mining place, so gases might be getting released, but I'm not.
The Norfolk Broads and all that, whatever. There's a lot of fenland, a lot of marshland down there as well,
Right.
Because of the wash and whatever, and it's quite lowland. So, we could be looking at swamp gas.
I was just going to say,
classic culprit.
I think you're referring to swamp gas. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, again, there's not a real whole lot about that, but they've, like I say, named it the Pluckley Fairies, so it must be some kind of phenomenon. But yeah, Pluckley, nice place. Let's go check it out. So next, what I'm going to do is move on to the UK's most haunted castle. Do you want to take a guess? If I say it is in the county of Northumberland.
Ooh, are we talking not Bamborough? Is it Bamborough Castle?
It's not, mate. It's Chillingham.
Oh, okay.
So, Chillingham, located in the county of Northumberland, considered one of the most haunted UK's castles, and I say that's subjective, but it seems to have quite a long and bloody history. So, I think it brings quite a few people in for its name alone. So, built in the 12th century, Chillingham Castle was originally a medieval fortress. So, over centuries, it basically witnessed numerous battles and sieges, earning a reputation for violence and bloodshed. So, I'm thinking its walls contain a lot of dark energy. A lot of suffering went on there.
Well, a lot of the castles up in Northumberland had to deal with Vikings, and also a lot of attacks from Scotland as well.
Right. So they saw it. They got it. Got it bad.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the castles up in Northumberland, the reason there are so many is because a lot of them are lookouts for the Scottish coming down anyway.
Ah, no way. Fair play. So they're hardened. But yeah, it's like I say, it seems to have a very brutal history. So it's got some ghostly inhabitants as well. So again, mate, another lady is involved in this one, but we'll go through it. But they're kind of like a bit vaguely named. So we've got the Blue Boy, the White Lady, and the Torturer. So the Blue Boy, this young boy is said to haunt the castle's Pink Room. I wasn't too sure what it meant by the Pink Room. Couldn't get a lot of information on that. So I didn't know if this was some kind of swingers joint. And, you go to the Pink Room and leave your keys and, have a wander around and see what happens. But, yeah, so visitors have reported seeing a blue figure or a flash of blue light, and some have even heard the boy's cries. So, yeah, we'll have to check out the Pink Room. White Lady. So the spectral woman is said to roam the castle's corridors, often appearing in a white gown. And then we've got the Torturer. So this is it says it's a malevolent spirit. And it's believed to be the ghost of John Sage. So John Sage was a former torturer at the castle, which is pretty terrifying if that dude's roaming around. Again, few eyewitness accounts. Some visitors reported feeling his presence in the torture chamber. I'm not sure how you felt his presence, but that's what they said.
Well, you just wait till his mum and dad have gone to bed, and then you go under the tree and shake them, I suppose.
Well, some have claimed to have been touched by him. Didn't say where. Don't know if he's a bit of a randy torturer, but yeah, not a nice spirit. So I'm guessing the other, the Blue Boy and the White Lady are just trapped between dimensions, and there's this brutal lout roaming around, giving off his toxic vibes. So as I mentioned, we've got some eyewitness accounts. So over the years, you got numerous visitors sharing their experiences. So got a few examples, but again, these are kind of like almost written as Google reviews. So one person states, I was walking down a corridor when I suddenly felt a cold spot and saw a blue figure dart across the room. Could be the Blue Boy. Maybe that's why he's named that. Another person says, I was in the torture chamber when I felt a hand on my shoulder. I turned around, but there was no one there. First off, what are you doing hanging around in a torture chamber? That's like your first kind of mistake there, guy. Another person said, I heard a child crying in the Pink Room, but when I went to investigate, there was no one there. So yeah, seems a pretty scary place. But as far as other castles go, you ever go to Tattershall?
I don't believe I've been there.
Not been to that one. That was a cool place. I remember going there as a kid. I think I want to say Lincolnshire, but I'm not sure. I'll get corrected on that one. But yeah, I think we've got a lot of, like you say, castles where we saw a lot of kind of bad shit happen. So naturally, you're going to have ghostly inhabitants. But yeah, Chillingham seems pretty cool.
I'm guessing bad things happened in most castles.
Yeah, they're not the nicest of places, are they? Let's be fair.
Not really.
Castles.
And generally, the people that own them weren't nice to everybody.
Yeah, this is it. I suppose same as old kind of like churches and stuff. Some crazy stuff happened, went down. So yeah, that was the most haunted UK castle. Again, that's open to interpretation. I'm sure you can find some more haunted castles. Like I say, I think most of them are probably haunted, and they've all got the kind of stories. So for the next one, we're going to move over to UK's most haunted house. So this one really is up for debate. I think we've got a lot of houses, and when I first saw this, I thought that's going to link me to what's the famous one with the girls? I always forget the name of it. The Enfield Poltergeist. So I thought that house would be popping up. But this one is, well, I think you've heard of this one because you spoke to me before about the Black Monk of Pontefract. But
there's the house in Pontefract, yeah.
that's the one, dude. 30 East Drive
Yeah.
in West Yorkshire. Beloved Yorkshire.
And I've street viewed it a few times, and it's just your typical ex-council house, really. It's
Just standard.
looks like everywhere else in West Yorkshire, yeah, or all over the country.
I think they're the most scary ones when you see like horror and it's just based in some, standard terrace house in the UK. I've seen enough horror films based in mansions and it's kind of boring now, but yeah, that's cool. But yeah, so West Yorkshire, as you mentioned, seemingly ordinary house, but reputation for being one of the most UK's haunted houses. So it's said to be haunted by a poltergeist known as the Black Monk of Pontefract. It's been blamed for a number of disturbances at the house. So I'll go through a bit.
I believe the Black Monk is going to have its own bus home.
Oh yeah, definitely. It seems to be a lot of information on there, so I won't go too much into it. But we'll talk about the Pritchard family. So the most famous residents of 30 East Drive were these guys. Moved into the house in 1966. Shortly after moving in, they began to experience strange phenomena, such as objects moving on their own, lights flipping on and off, strange noises. I'm going to say strange noises a lot. In fact, that's a cool drinking game for any listeners. Every time I say strange noises, take a shot. So the family also reported seeing a dark figure, which they believed to be the Black Monk. And again, a lot of the reports seem to come from the Pritchard family, so not sure if it's a bit of a Smurl situation or a Lutz, but they seem to be the most haunted residents. So the poltergeist activity that I mentioned in there, so particularly violent from what I could see. Objects have been thrown around the house, furniture overturned, family members themselves physically assaulted. Different to other poltergeist activities, where it's just maybe drawers or cupboards opening. This was, shit's getting bad when furniture's overturning. That's at the point where I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm getting a hotel for the night. But yeah, the family members just basically reported unseen forces and they got scratch marks. I'm guessing that was a Pritchard family. So briefly, the Black Monk, spirit of a monk who lived in a monastery, basically the monastery stood on the site of the house. So some believe that the monk was executed for a crime that he didn't commit. And this is now his spirit basically trying to get even with people by being a knobhead to anyone who lives in the house. It's typical monk behaviour. So the house garnered a bit of media attention from this. It's been the subject of books. Again, I managed to find a few docs on there, so might check those out at a different point. But again, might be even one for itself because there just seemed a lot of information on there. So obviously television shows moved in. Said movies, but
yes, there is one film based on the Black Monk.
So when the lights went out.
Yes.
Yeah.
A great British ghost film there for you.
It is. It's terrifying. I think I saw it, released in 2017. I think I saw it around then, so I won't mind rechecking that out. But I remember it being pretty terrifying.
It's sensationalised, obviously, because it's a film, but
yeah,
it is good.
Any horror, any ghost film made in England, I'm all about. So I actually saw, read this bit when I was looking into it. 30 East Drive is now open to the public for tours, which is really odd. So visitors can actually go to the house themselves and learn about the history of it, which is just random.
You can have a
It's
tour around a 3-bedroom semi.
This is it.
Wow.
And what are the neighbours thinking?
Brilliant.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, here they are for tours again. I found that very odd that you would open up your house for that kind of business. But hey-ho. Again, not afraid of the hustle. Whatever you got to do to earn a bit of money. My house was haunted. I won't be staying there, but yeah, I'd set up cameras and do a Twitch stream and set up an OnlyFans, whatever. So, moving on, mate. I'm going to go to the most haunted hall. and Hall, for anybody listening that don't know, it's like stately homes. UK's got a few of them. Not a castle as such. Think more in between a castle and a mansion. So, we're renowned for our stately
Well, we've
homes.
got Temple Newsom, which is very close to. Well, it's in Leeds.
Yeah.
Where we are. There's another one very close to us, at East Riddlesden Hall, on the way to Keighley.
We've got a few, mate. Nice wander around on a summer's day. Can't get more British than that. So again, not to bore you, but we've got another lady. This time it's the Brown Lady.
I think most of the halls are more lady-based.
Yeah, I'm
Because
guessing
that's where they live.
this is it.
Yeah, if a lady's going to live anywhere, it's in a big mansion.
Kind of
A
sexist.
hall.
Because you got lady ghosts roaming around a hall, whereas dudes get the torture chambers. Do you know what I mean? It's maybe I want to roam around a hall. Maybe I don't want to go to the torture chamber when I die.
Man's work, isn't it?
I guess. I guess equality doesn't exist in the paranormal realm, but there you go. So the Brown Lady is believed to be the spirit of Dorothy Walpole, the wife of Charles Townshend. Basically, he owned Raynham Hall in the 1700s. So legend has it that Dorothy had an affair.
That's the famous picture of the ghost on the stairs.
It is, mate. It is.
It's the Raynham Hall one, yeah.
You know your photos. So basically, Charles, in a fit of rage, as you would, if you find your missus having a cheeky affair, he locked her away in a room until she died. Kind of brutal.
He wasn't paying her any attention. He's spending all his time in the torture chamber, probably.
This is it. Getting touched up. So yeah, man. So kind of a tragic story. But yeah, so she's said to roam the halls. So over the years, you got many visitors, residents of the hall reported seeing the Brown Lady. She seems to be kind of the main bitch who owns this place. So she's not letting anybody else step on her turf. She's kind of badass. She's often described as a woman in a brown dress, pale face, dark, empty eye sockets. As you mentioned, some have claimed to have even captured her on camera. So if you want to check that out, the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall, it's kind of a famous pic. That's not the one in the Usborne book, right?
Possibly, but it's in every other ghost book, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a famous picture. It's up there with that one of the monk next to the church altar.
Right, so I've got a little bit here on the actual picture. So it was taken in 1936, and it was a photographer from Country Life magazine. So that's kind of cool. It wasn't like some jazzed up paranormal photographer, just a straight up nerd from Country Life magazine wanting to take some nice pictures of the hall. So as he was photographing the grand staircase, they captured an image of the ghostly figure descending the stairs. So
the thing is, the picture, I don't know if it's a cropped version of a wider picture, but the ghost is pretty front and centre.
As in, it's clear.
Like he's deliberately took a picture of a ghost that he's seen coming down the stairs. It's not like he's took a picture of some stairs and there happens to be a ghost coming down. It's like the subject of the photo. That's why it could be cropped and, as part of a wider picture. But it's not like my favourite kind of ghost picture where you've got to look and then go, oh, God, there it is. It's pretty, it's there.
Yeah.
It's pretty front and centre, yeah.
In your face.
In your face.
Yeah, I agree. Like American Horror movies. I agree with you. It's nothing scarier than something you have to squint and be like, where is it? And then all of a sudden it comes.
Because it almost makes you jump when you finally see it.
Definitely.
Yeah. But, this is, you just turn the page and it's there.
Yeah. So it's like in your face. Remember that one? It was definitely in the Usborne books. It was the guy. There's a woman. Was it a woman in a back seat? It was kind of like obvious.
Oh, the mother-in-law. It's the mother-in-law in the with the scarf on, sat behind him in his new car. Yeah,
I like that one. That was cool.
That one. That one used to really scare me when I was younger. Yes, that is in the Usborne book.
I like that one.
Yeah.
So she had like white eyes or something. Crazy. But
Yeah, it seemed the eye was glowing. Yeah.
yeah, freaky. So yeah, the brown lady seems to dwell mostly on the staircase, but she has seen other parts of the hall and, like I say, the room that she died in. That'd be kind of cool to see. I wonder if like you can have a little tour and they mention stuff about that, because it's kind of grim, but not something your average family would want to hear about. But it's cool nonetheless. So yeah, so that was the most haunted hall. So next, what I'm going to move on to, sort of rounds us up, is the most haunted road. And we've got a lot of haunted roads in the UK. Didn't actually know about this, but looked into quite a few of them. And yes, the A666 is in there, but why would it not be? So I'm not going to ask you to guess this because I never knew about this. And again, not to be too insensitive, but you know, a lot of these ghosts are probably people who have fallen to tragic accidents on our poorly maintained countryside junctions. So this is actually the A15 was, I won't say voted, but when I was kind of looking through, this one seemed to pop up as the most kind of like notorious, few eyewitness accounts. So A15, it stretches from north to south through Lincolnshire. Pretty normal road, reputation for a lot of spooky happenings. So we'll go into it. The main place where the happenings seem to be was this place called the Ruskington Turnoff. Again, don't really know the roads. A lot of reports of shadowy figures that dart out in front of cars. Usually described as a man with long hair. Sometimes he raises his arms. It's like he wants to give a warning. You know, people slam on the brakes. They check to see if they've hit someone. There's nothing. You know, usual kind of like, I guess if you encountered a ghost in a car, wouldn't be as scary, would it? But basically, this guy's basically just trying to jump out and scare people. So a couple of eyewitness accounts. A driver named Kevin Whelan calling into a TV show in 1998 to describe his experience. I tried to look and I couldn't find anything on this, but he said he saw a figure floating in front of him, and then his face suddenly appeared right next to him in the car window. He was so freaked that he sped off, breaking the speed limit to get away. Naughty Kevin.
Oh, and he admitted that.
On live TV. What a dickhead. Another driver reported seeing a white shape that turned into a man with his arm raised again. So it's like pretty friendly ghosts. Do you know what I mean? Just trying to slow cars down. But he said the man seemed to be warning him about something, then he just vanished into thin air. So, yeah, kind of odd. Some people, this was quite interesting. They think there's a nearby field connected that was once a plague pit. So I'm guessing by plague pit, it was where they dumped the bodies.
Mass burials and burning pits of plague victims.
Which, again, I can't imagine a plague victim is really that bothered about warning drivers of the dangers of UK roads. But, again, kind of creepy.
No, I mean, the road... The existing road could quite possibly have been on an old track which led to a village that used to be there, and they're probably saying, don't go to this village, it's unclean.
Maybe. But even so,
You'll
grim.
get poorly.
Yeah. Not sure, like, plague have a shelf life? I certainly wouldn't like to be walking around that pit.
Well, if it's a ghost that was around then and died as a result of the plague will be a very current and real issue for him.
Ugh.
I don't think he'd have grown with the times.
No.
Got over it, you know.
You're probably right.
I'm
But
pretty
either
sure
way,
if he's a ghost if it's the ghost of a plague victim or a plague person from them times, they would still be in that mindset, I would guess.
yeah, they're going to be
Even
pretty
now.
messed up. Definitely, mate. Also, there's a church nearby built by the Knights Templar, the mysterious medieval order. So again, could be related to that. Maybe some dark worshipping and rituals went down there, causing Para-
If it's Templars, they're probably trying to flag you down so you pay your taxes. Yeah.
possibly. Or some kind of dimensional rift from some ceremony that went wrong, bringing creatures into this world, who knows. So definitely seems to be a scary road. But when I was looking through, a few other roads popped up. So the A75, I think that's actually Scotland. So this road is actually, okay, so most haunted road in Scotland, but I'm going to give it a little shout out. Again, ghostly figures, phantom hitchhikers on this road. Couldn't actually see any reports of anyone who stopped and picked the actual hitchhiker up, so how exactly you know it's a hitchhiker, I'm not too sure.
A lot of the Phantom Hitchhiker stories are all very, very similar, so I'm kind of skeptical about them.
I think they also go into like paranormal erotic literature as well, but we won't go there. Or maybe we will. That'll be another episode. Spectral animals.
Brought to you by Lee.
That'll be
'Cause I'm not researching it.
After Dark.
Lee After Dark. coming to a podcast provider near you.
That's definitely going behind a paywall. Trust me. So spectral animals on the A75, which would be kind of cool. But yeah, lots of reportings. So as I mentioned earlier, the A666, and let's face it, is that
even a thing?
Yeah.
No.
I stupidly didn't get the location of it, but I'm sure I went on the A66 recently, so it's not far. I think it's around our area. Nicknamed the Devil's Highway. But yeah, I'm sure that's pretty close by. But again, reports on this one of a shadowy figure that limps along the side of the road. It's kind of cool. So I'm expecting some kind of like Baba Yaga witch. Maybe.
Oh, it's in Lancashire.
Lancashire.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. Let me have a look. Starts in Pendlebury.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
And goes up, at the southern end, it's Pendlebury, and at the top end, it goes to Langho.
Okay.
Langho. But
Cool.
yeah.
So yeah, A666, get on that road and meet the devil. And the B3212 in Dartmoor.
The Hairy Hands Road.
Yeah, man, you know it. So yeah, Hairy Hands. We spoke about this before. Again, Randy Hands trying to grab the steering wheels and forcing drivers off the road. So if you're ever on that road, be careful.
Oh, Langho, let me just say, at the top end of the A666, pretty much we're talking about 5, maybe 10 Ks from Pendle Hill.
No way. Okay, that's pretty cool. You can take a trip on the...
That's doable. That's about an hour and a half away from here, or an hour,
nice.
couple of hours. Yeah.
Okay.
So the B3212, yes.
Yeah, so that's...
It has its own bus home.
Definitely. Hairy Hands. Yeah, that was a good one. Kind of creepy. Scary-ass road. Is that the one with the dogs?
Yes, and it has... No, that's the Adlet.
That's that. Right.
This is the Hairy Hands. It's a very dangerous road. It's an unlit road. It's a country road. But
right.
It has stories, but, I don't want to give any spoilers out.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we'll hit that one up in a new episode. So there are kind of some haunted hotspots around the UK. So I kind of tried to look into... again, some more scientific explanations. As I mentioned, some of these stories came with a lot of mining going on in the area. Just a lot of things going on around the area, so it's not like they're isolated in that way. Looked into EMFs, as we've mentioned before, so electromagnetic fields. They can have impact on our bodies. High levels can cause headaches, fatigues, and even hallucinations. So areas in the UK with high magnetic fields. I actually brought up a little list. So Cornwall, particularly in the southwestern peninsula, and it's likely due to the presence of iron-rich rocks. So if you remember from the first story in this podcast, there was a lot of iron mining going on. So again, it could all be kind of linked. Another place with high iron mass is the Peak District. So that's, for anyone listening, Peak District is National Park, and that's located in central England. Area has significant magnetic anomalies. So again, all things that I think could affect stuff. But if we want to go down the paranormal route, maybe these things make it easy for dimensional shifts and things to pass through that we wouldn't normally see. And the Scottish Highlands. So maybe you could follow the roads and do your little sort of like paranormal tour. But obviously not in England, but the Scottish Highlands are known for their high magnetic fields. And again, that's likely due to the presence of iron-rich rocks. So if you want to kind of form a bit of a scientific analysis of it all, not that I'm by any means
Aleister Crowley spent a lot of time up there
no
doing
way.
his self-pollution rituals.
Hey, he knew as well. So maybe he knew something we didn't. Maybe you need to find the iron-rich places.
Mr. Crowley believed he knew a lot. He, but yeah, he did spend a lot of time just like dragging himself around the Highlands there, yanking his plank raw.
Gotta do what you gotta
But
do.
yeah, was it's a lot of what his magic was based around.
Hell yeah.
There was a lot of
Sex
plank
magic.
spanking.
Yeah, man. I'm all about that.
Now, I do have a haunted road one for you, because
Okay.
it's been with me since I was a little boy, and it's in the Usborne book. And there's a lane. I don't know if you really refer to it as a road. It has a road because it's a lane, but it's called Dicky Bus's Lane. And apparently, at the right time of year, in the right conditions, you can see the apparition of a schoolmaster hanging from the tree, from a tree on Dicky Bus's Lane.
What kind of... did you say that's not really a full-on road? Is it more like a country...
Well, it's a lane.
Lane,
So,
yeah.
it's not like a motorway. And yeah, it's just stayed with me because whenever I go down a country lane and there's trees and I'm on my own, I'm always looking up and down, looking for a swinging ghost.
Countryside lanes are terrifying.
Oh, and you'll never guess where Dicky Bus's Lane is.
Where's that?
Pluckley.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, I think it deserves...
So there you go. There's a
admission.
schoolmaster's ghost swinging in a tree.
It is terrifying for kids. I think even if you're in a car, I always remember we were coming back from a countryside pub in Lincolnshire when I was a little kid. I think it was one of those things where me and a bunch of the other kids are out in the beer garden and it gets a bit late, parents don't mind, and you end up leaving at like last calls. And I remember driving back, and for some reason I was terrified.
Different time.
Different time. So parents obviously driving back, and I remember looking out the window, and I think things just play on you as a kid. Like you just see stuff, you just convince yourself. And I remember seeing these like big figures by the side of the road, but they were like hooded. And I remember it now, and it was so real. But obviously as a kid you just see these things, but country lanes just terrifying because there's the lights flashes by like trees and stuff. Mind plays tricks on you, see all kinds of shit. So big fan of the British country lane as far as paranormal activity goes on, and the odd bit of dogging. So yes, mate.
Terrifying. It seems to be where all the like old twisted trees are. That are
Yeah.
over the road. Yeah.
Exactly. And just the odd like random farmhouse that you just know is the
And
start.
barn owl. Yeah.
Yeah. Just the start of some kind of horror movie. So yeah, mate. So that brings me to the most haunted UK's end. So can it be good for any listeners out there to maybe do a little tour if you fancy that? Follow each place around. You could do the haunted roads. Definitely want to check
I'm
out.
quite surprised Borley Rectory didn't get a little mention, but
It did come
that
up.
will have its own bus home.
This is it. There was a few places that did come up that have been sort of covered quite a bit, and I think deserves a bit more of a bit time spent on it. I definitely want to visit Pluckley. I think out of all those places, hit those 2 pubs up, check out this dude, see if I get a visit from.
That'd be an overnighter. Kent isn't just a day visit.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I want to stay overnight.
A lot of driving.
I want to give the demonic entities a chance to, get involved.
Pack of dibs, and we'll go.
And as 30 East Drive in Pontefract is apparently now open to the public, why not? Fancy a little mission round a British terraced house. Let's do it.
I've got a feeling the layout will be exactly like my house.
I'm sure.
Because it looks like my house on the on the street view.
This is it. I can't imagine there'd be anything spectacular about it as you go in and be like, wow, this is insane. No, it's just a standard house in the UK. But I'm kind of hoping they have done something. If you're going to go there for a tour, at least splat some red paint on the walls or something. Do you know what I mean?
Stick a conservatory in.
Yeah, make it worthwhile.
Well, they might put tea and coffee on.
Yeah. Have a shit, don't flush it, say it's a ghost, odd smells, do what you want.
Full smell.
Full smell. Never go full smell.